Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have a very beautiful and inspired interview with Scott. Scott is from England in the UK. So let's see what Scott has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello.
Hello.
Hello Scott, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Is this lighting okay?
It's perfect.
Good.
How's your day been so far?
Wonderful. I got some great news today.
So tell me.
So you know it's World Book Day?
Yes.
I wrote a children's book called Grumpy Gorilla and Happy Hippo, and it's in the window of Waterstones today.
Oh my God.
So I walked past and I was very excited. So I did a funny video on the social media of me just sort of like showing off, really, to be fair. But yeah, I was super happy that, because when I first wrote the book, before I'd even got it published or anything, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to be in that window right there one day. That was about 2 years ago. And then to also have it happen on book day was like a double whammy.
And to make it even better, you are doing the interview today with me. We're in the Magic Box. Couldn't be a better day.
Couldn't be in a better day.
Oh my God, congratulations. I'm so
Thank
happy. Okay, so just before we start our game, as you already mentioned about the book, about your children's book, tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, so do you want me to tell you how it came about as well?
Yes, and what was the inspiration, when you started, how everything you put it together?
Okay, so I found myself in a bit of a bad habit. And the bad habit was I was shouting and snappy all the time. Everything was annoying me. The children, the mother-in-law, everybody. And I would see people jump because I'd shout. Like because they weren't ready for it. Anyway, this was going on for quite a while, and I found out that I just literally couldn't speak without shouting. And then my wife told me one day, she sat me down and said, look, I need to tell you, we had a great weekend without you. I was away on something shrimp, and you need to do something about it, because we are happier when you're not around. It's a much better atmosphere, etc. So with that in mind, I changed immediately, because obviously I didn't want my wife and children to feel that way. That's just silly. And it wasn't an intentional thing. It actually became a habit. And then all of a sudden, everyone wanted to be around me like the old days. And I was more fun, and more opportunities came my way and everything. So Grumpy Gorilla was me. And it's a story about the gorilla who everything kind of goes wrong for him, and he's not moving forward in life because he's always snapping and focusing on the downside, assuming the worst. And his best friend, Happy Hippo, who everything goes right for him because he's always focusing on the positive, he teaches his best friend how to change the way he thinks. He also teaches him to eat a bit healthier, to do some exercise, and just basically turn his life around so that he can be a more inspiring, pleasant individual to be around, and therefore he makes all these friends and all that stuff. And it's written in rhyme, a bit like the Gruffalo type vibe. I don't know if you know the Gruffalo, Julia Donaldson. She's probably the #1 children's book there is. So it's got a very similar vibe to that, because I write everything in rhyme. I've written poems all my life. And I actually wrote that story in about 10 minutes on the toilet, but it had been in my head for about 2 years. So it was a combination of me wanting to show positivity and stuff, but also my experience of getting myself in a rut of being a bit of a grump, and how I got out of it. So yeah, that's where it comes from.
So it means the gorilla doesn't shout anymore.
No. And also it says it's actually called Grumpy Gorilla and Happy Hippo, a positive tale for all to read, because I think the parents need to see the message as much as the children. But it's a bit like a law of attraction, secret type message for toddlers.
And saying that, what would be your best piece of advice for people who find themselves as the grumpy gorilla? What would be your best piece of advice for those people who'd like to change their way of approaching life?
I think, which is my whole life, is that you need to feed your body and your mind with what it needs instead of spending all your life poisoning it. Because if you think about it, from the day we're born, we are poisoning our body. Full fat milk, bread and butter, crisps, sweets, cakes, biscuits, jam. It's just sugar, 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 sugar. We're even told that we should have cereal for breakfast, which is just sugar and carbohydrates. No wonder everyone's half asleep by 4 o'clock. And most people decide to make a change to feed their body differently when they're fat or out of shape, or they can't walk up the stairs without being out of breath, or can't run for the bus, whatever it is. But they forget that this is a part of the body too. And if you're poisoning this as well at the same time, no wonder when a bit of stress comes your way, it's 10 times worse than it really would be, because we are built to cope with stress, grief, mourning, misery, depression, anxiety. We're built to cope with that. But if we're poisoning this all the time with what goes in, we're less likely to be able to cope with that. So the first thing I would do is change your eating habits. Even, it doesn't have to be complete crazy, like strict bad, but just make some definite changes. And also maybe to listen to some things that will make, let's say you're feeding this through what you hear as well as what you're feeding. Listen to more podcasts like yours, obviously. and see the most beautiful smile that I've ever seen on the screen as well. That's what I would do.
I'm gonna do like that now with my hand, okay? We haven't started the interview properly yet. You already make me feel like blowing up around the world, around the room. Okay, Scott. So just before we start our journey within the Magic Box, tell me where you're from.
I live in Bishop Stortford in Hertfordshire.
What's the best part of living there?
It's quite countrified. It's quite lots of old buildings. I mean, my house is 300 years old, but it's still very close to London if you want to go in. It's like 45 minutes on the train. Okay. Yeah, so it's a real nice looking place. I mean, don't get me wrong, everywhere's got its downsides, but yeah, we love it here. We really love it here. It's definitely home for us. I don't think and the house that I'm in is our forever house. And yeah, I don't think I would ever take me out of here in a box. That's when I'm leaving.
And tell me, what do you do for a living? What's your main job?
So I run a program called the Six Pack Revolution. It's a fitness, nutrition, mindset, personal development program that has taken over the world. It's in 58 countries now, tens of thousands of participants. Celebrities are doing the program. I mean, lots of celebrities do the program, some on the quiet, some I've splattered all over the press. And it's life-changing. It's really bringing people, a bit like what I said, you know, bringing people away from misery and depression and illness, and really good for mental health, life-changing. And I'm very proud of it.
Amazing. Okay, so through the journey, I'm going to explore a little bit more about the Six Pack revolution, and also about your career as well as a personal trainer. Right, so are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are. I'll do my best.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have here my best friend, full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question, okay? Let's do it, Scott. Let's do it.
Punch the punch bag.
Yes. Okay, Scott, so through the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, I always can change, okay? It's all very friendly, okay?
Okay.
First question for you is, define yourself in a season of the year and why?
That's a good question, isn't it? I would have to say I'm going to choose the summer, because my nickname has always been Scott Too Hot. and and I managed to take myself from, if you've seen my before and after photographs, maybe a more miserable type of weather to a much more hotter physique. So definitely summer.
And you were born during the summertime as well? Your birthday?
September, so towards the end of summer.
Okay, cool. Next question for you. Let's do it. Okay, Scott, next question for you is, tell me something that you can't live without.
Something I can't live without?
Yeah.
I'm assuming we're not going to do the obvious, like your children and stuff like that. We want something a little bit different.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, yes. I mean, if it came up to your mind, for your man, naturally your kids, why not? It's whatever comes to your mind.
Well, of course, my children. But I'm a bit of a granola maniac. I do love granola. Like I could take a box of granola into the cinema and eat the whole thing dry. So I love granola. If you're talking about food, it's a very broad question. It's too many answers for this one, I think. Yeah, too many answers.
As you mentioned about your kids, how old are they?
I have a 12-year-old girl, an 8-year-old boy, and a 1-year-old boy.
Wow, wow. And yeah. So far, since you became a parenting, what is the most beautiful lesson you've learned from them so far?
That the love that you feel for these people before you even know them is indescribable, and you would jump under a bus on the first minute. And even to the point, I won't talk too much about this because I don't want to get too upset, but I want to be open to you. We lost a little boy, and we lost him during the pregnancy, but quite late. And so we still had to have a funeral. We spent about half an hour with him. He was born asleep. And I wasn't ready for that same emotion as if for normal birth, but it was no different. So that was a big surprise, that the love is still, in fact, sometimes, in some ways, it was more, I felt so sorry for him. So it was more, maybe even more stronger at that time. So I would have jumped under a bus for this little thing that wasn't even alive. That's how much I loved him.
Oh my God, that's such a beautiful story. Thanks, Scott, for sharing that. My goodness, I got goosebumps now saying that. Wow, powerful, my God. Oh, thank you.
I think what they also teach you is that you actually don't need much else. So if I was stuck in this house, like a lockdown, I was happy as Larry. Like I was just spending loads of time. Like I didn't need anything else. So they teach you that, like you create these people that you just, that's it. You know, you don't need much more. And I think it's a human survival technique. A human survival instinct that you have to love these things so much because it's your job to make sure they live to carry on the human race. So you protect them with everything you've got. Most people do. I mean, there's some stupid horror stories, as we know. But if you're normal, I'm guessing that's why we all feel that way. That undescribable thing is for survival.
Absolutely.
And it's a blessing.
Sure. Next question. Let's do it, Scott. Let's do it. Before the next question, tell me how fitness came into your life. How everything started.
Okay, so I was a karate instructor in my 20s. I had an adult class, a kids class. So I've kind of done fitness a lot throughout my life, but I was fit and fat. So when my I was picking up the kit. This is the story how the six-pack revolution came. So the big fitness in my life. Mm-hmm. Well, I was picking up the children from school for the first time, rare time because I was always working, and it was December in 2015, and I was standing watching all the other parents, And it was very apparent to me that they were overweight, bloated, poisoned. I mean, they love me too. Some couldn't even walk properly. They were waddling. And these little kids were running out to their role models. And I was like, that doesn't look too good. And then I realized I was one of them. So I decided that day that my January, because it was December, New Year's resolution, I was going to get a six-pack. And I chose 90 days at the time because that was the time that people just did things. And I chose a visual goal instead of a weight or wherever else, so I could focus on it. I could see it. Because in my eyes, if you can see it, you can be it. So I blogged it on Facebook. I had about 30 odd people want to follow me. I said, look, I'm doing this properly, no messing. And I realized I had this knack of engaging people and keeping them motivated for a long period of time. Anyway, we got to the end. The results were ridiculous. People had never seen this before. Like, how? I went, I'm not sure how. But since then, I've got various diplomas in nutrition. I'm a PT. I'm a student of psychology at the moment. My wife is a nutritionist, Sitting Gills nutritionist who specializes in physical activity. So I've got every expert on the planet now behind me as my team. And it's now a 75-day program, not 90, because I've got quicker, better results in less time. I've tweaked it and perfected it. And it grew from like these 37 people to now, I must have affected 100,000 people now. And it's now in 58 countries, not just one county. So that's how I got into this type of fitness. And I think the reason it's so powerful is, you may have heard before, this is quite a common thing. Have you ever heard of 80% nutrition, 20% exercise? Have you ever heard of that?
Yes. I mean, you heard a lot about those, I never pay attention to that properly, but yes, I'm sure it kind of, I go to the gym, I'm sure like I see personal trainers talking about, percentage, but I never kind of got, but I'm sure I must have, for sure.
Well, the world talks about it all the time. Yeah, all the fitness things focus on the 20%. Well, I've focused on the 80%. So I'm not a fitness company with nutrition. I'm a nutrition company with fitness and mindset. And I teach people how to focus on what they want, not on what they don't want. And the problem is we too often focus all the time on what we don't want. And if you think about energy and how we give all our energy, if you think about all over your life, you sit there, what if the worst happens? What if this happens? Well, hang on, what if the best happens? We don't sit there doing that, do we? We look at the downside. So I teach people to stop doing that.
See, and most of your clients, people who look like for a better life, a healthier way of living, is more a men or women?
It used to be more women.
Mm-hmm.
Then the men started to come in and take over, and now it's probably about 50-50. So, and I have 18-year-olds to 76-year-olds, different colors, creeds, cultures. It doesn't matter. As long as you've got the internet, you can do this program. And I don't know if you've seen the results, but they're like ridiculous. Like, no, even the top professionals are going, how are you doing it? And I said, I'm not doing anything that clever. We're eating a lot of food, balanced plate of food, balanced throughout the day. This isn't a quick fix. And when you eat like that, the body works at its optimum and therefore is quicker than all of the quick fix fads that are out there that you've all tried to, find the quick way. You've slowed everything down.
See, good point. Next question is, who was your favorite teacher and why?
My favorite teacher was Mrs. Jackson. And she was actually, her nickname, I hope she's not, well, she probably knew this, but her nickname might be controversial, was Hitler.
Oops. Because
people were scared to death of her. She was the English teacher, but she was also the head of year. And I loved English. I was very good at poems and reading and stories. And so we got on and it was a bit embarrassing because we got on really well. So she would ask me to read first. For the 5 years I was in school, I was the first reader in every time we did English. It was almost like I was getting embarrassed, but in the end, it just became the norm. And then even one time I got sent out into the corridor, and because we had a cover teacher, and she threw me out. And I can't even remember now what it was. I mean, I don't get thrown out of classes. I must have said something I didn't mean to or something. Anyway, so I'm out in the corridor and Mrs. Jackson walks along. Now, usually that's the time everyone's scared to death. They're going to get detention. They're going to get told off. They're going to get in trouble. And she just said, what happened? And I told her, I can't even remember now. And she went, oh, don't worry, come and work with me for the day. And I just went in her office and just helped her do filing and all stuff like that. So, yeah, she was my favorite teacher, but it was no one else would have ever said that. No, they would never choose her.
Beautiful. I think those strong teachers, they always leave a mark in our path. If you are clever enough, you know what I mean? Because if you see those strong teachers, they just want you to get the better from you. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think that's kind of how I am with my program. They call me like Sergeant Major with love. So I don't mess around. I tell you exactly what you got to do. There's no room for messing. But if you're struggling, I'll sit there and I'll help you through it, you know?
Good one. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, Scott from England. Next question is, what is your all-time favorite band and why?
Do I have to give you just one?
Okay, just because you are from England, so you can pick two.
Okay, well, we're going to put Elvis to one side because he's just God. So no one can say Elvis. I love Queen and Terence Trent D'Arby. Now, Terence Trent D'Arby, I think, has got the best voice on the planet. He changed his name to Sandita Maitreya. Sananda Maitreya, I can't even say it properly, because he back when he was in the 80s, Prince, Michael Jackson were really strong, and another black singer, he was getting not treated very well, and he couldn't handle it for his mental health. So he kind of killed off Terence Trent D'Arby and had a new name, but went underground. So even now, he's 59 now, he does small clubs all over the place that pretty much just jamming most of the time. It's really not big stuff, which is a shame because I think he's got the best voice that ever lived. Terence Trent D'Arby.
Amazing, very good.
Am I giving too long answers? Are these too long?
They're
I'm
not
trying to
right.
explain my reasons.
Absolutely not. They're not right or wrong way of answering. It's just yourself. The way you want the answer, that's what matters.
Okay.
Next one. Let's do it. Okay, Scott, before the next one, when I was checking a little bit your profile and your website as well, there was a program, SPR Juniors, yeah?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it.
So SPR Juniors, the reason it's called SPR, it stands for Strong, Powerful and Resilient Juniors. But also SPR is the nickname for Six Pack Revolution.
It's all connected.
A little bit connected. So SPR Juniors is a PE lesson that's in over 50 schools in the country as we speak, and it's a live. It's like a video interactive. It pushes children. It teaches them about not just exercise, but about hydration and nutrition. We also run a newsletter for parents, which is helping to engage with their kids, how to feed them healthily on a budget. Recipes, activities to do in the holidays. So yes, that's one other thing I'm quite proud of, that we affect the children in that way too.
In your opinion, Scott, do you think nowadays, like this new world with technology, do you think too that they lost a bit of interest with sports or fitness, or do you think it's still the same? For example, I remember as a child, I remember back in Brazil, my God, I grew up like with sports around me every single day. I remember I was playing volleyball, I was playing football, I was doing exercise every single day. We have this, I'm not 100% sure here in England, but back in Brazil, we have this approach of children always doing sports. There's always something doing. So I remember growing up with sports around me all the time. So nowadays, I don't know, it's a different world right now, of course, technology, you know what I mean? People, and I think nowadays, not just children, but us as well, we spend so much time with our, smartphones, this and that. In your opinion, do you think that with this new world now, children, they got distracted regarding sports? Or do you think nowadays schools or like you, those programs, they're still kind of pushing children to carry on with the sports?
I think it's a little bit of a mix. It's very easy to now sit in a room and get entertained. Whereas if when I was young, I'd want to go out to play. You can play in your room now with your friends on the internet. They're playing on here at the same time as you. So there is that side of it. But there is, the schools are pushing clubs. I mean, I've got 3 kids, obviously one's too young, but the other 2. So they've got every opportunity to netball, cricket, rounders, football. Yeah, I could go on. Even just after school games. There's a games one where it's all different types of things. So I think maybe it depends on the school as well. Some schools are very sports orientated. So I guess it depends on that. But I think there's a kind of come back round now because of Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and all that. People want to look good. Kids too. They don't want to be unhealthy or, sorry for the word, but it's a word, fat. So they're looking at their appearance again now. So I think it's coming around a bit where they actually go, well, if I want to look good on the screen, I need to work out a little bit. I need to do some exercise. I need to maybe think about what I'm eating. So I think it's kind of, especially as you're getting into the teenage years, I think it's coming back. They're looking for what can I do to look good. So if it's whether it's the right reason to be doing the sport or not, all about looks, I don't know. But at least they're doing it.
I see. All right. Next question is, do you consider yourself to be a spiritual person, and how?
Yes, very, very. One, I'm a massive believer in energy and the universe, but you could call that science and not spiritualism. But I've had some incredible psychic experiences and premonitions. One actually this is a bit of a longer story, but with my little boy that we lost. I don't know how much time you've got, but I could tell you that story.
Please, carry on, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we first found out we were pregnant, we weren't trying for a baby. In fact, one night we didn't, and boom, he's there. High five. Super. And so we were like, oh no, like we'd booked 3 holidays. It was like, what are we doing? Do we want to do this? Do we want to do this? And we kind of sat down and wrote down the pros and cons of what was the light that was coming towards us. There were no cons and it was all pros. We had the room, we could afford it, we had the family, we had the love. We couldn't turn the light off. But we kept still not making a final decision. Are we doing it or not? Wow. So we was driving towards my daughter's school, and she had an assembly. We was going to watch her in assembly, and we're in the car and we're still discussing this. So I said to my wife, and I don't know why it came into my head, I said, let's ask the universe for a sign. And she's like, here he goes with his universe. Mm-hmm. And she went, all right. I said, if we see a blue tree, then we're having the baby. And she went, well, we're not going to see a blue tree, are we? And I said, exactly. So if we see a blue tree, we're having the baby. She went, all right. We shook on it. Went to watch my daughter in their assembly. After that, we was allowed to go into their classroom. They sit down, show you their books, where they work and all that. And then we was all asked to leave. Now we're walking down this other corridor that I've never been down because we've gone round another way. And on the wall on the left was this big eco save the planet display. And in blue handprints was the biggest, bluest tree you've ever seen.
Wow.
Why is it a blue tree? No idea. But it was a blue tree. So I froze because I'd only said it an hour and a half earlier. I grabbed her hand and then she froze, and I lifted her off the floor, spun around, and went, we're having the baby. Anyway, so we we go for the normal scans and everything's there and it's all going well. And we were on holiday, the first holiday of the 3. And you know what ladies are like when there's a bargain. We're in Cannes in the south of France, and there's this big baby shop, like several floors, and it's a big sale on. She has literally got a whole trolley full of baby clothes, right? Girls' baby clothes. So I said, "What are you doing?" Because I was out working on my phone. Come in, there's a big, I'm getting stuff for the baby. I said, "It might be a boy." She went, "No, it's not. It's definitely a girl." I went, "It's not." I said, 50-50. Said, "It could be a boy." I said, "Put it all back, because we can't come back here and change it all. We've flipping got to fly over to another country." Anyway, she keeps a few bits, and she says, "My cousin's having a baby anyway, so at least I can give him to her if it doesn't work," and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, we carry on, and Christmas comes, and we tell the kids by doing the slippers. So we had the 3 pairs of slippers, this tiny little pair. And they were like, so we said that they can choose his name. And they chose the name Evan. And we loved it. So we kept it. And we were bringing the high chair to the table, like pretending he's with us already. He was just living with us already, and he hasn't even born yet. So I'll move on a bit now. We go further, and we go for, this is past halfway now, and we're going for just one of the routine scans. And we're in there, they've got the gel on the belly, and we look, hang on, am I missing something here? No. I looked at the woman's face, and I knew there was a problem. I knew there was a problem. She says, "I need to get a second opinion." My wife's going, what? Anyway, comes in. It's not happening. So he died. So my wife hit the floor. There was nothing I could do. It was quite, there's nothing really I could do. I mean, obviously I was upset myself. I was feeling more for her because he's inside her, like. And then they gave her a tablet that she had to go off and come back 2 days later to give birth. Bless her. So she has to go through all of labour as well. And we went. She didn't want to let him go. She was a bit lost it a little bit, you know. And we went into the hospital where the wards are, the birthing wards, and there's 2 rooms. And the 2 rooms, these 2 rooms are for this type of birth. Okay. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we walk in. On the left-hand wall is the biggest, bluest tree you've ever seen.
My goodness. Wow.
It was, I wish if I'd have known I was going to talk about this, I'd have shown you the pictures, because I took all the pictures, obviously.
Wow. There's
another blue tree. We're not going to see a blue tree, are we? Remember that saying?
Absolutely.
So I was like, hang on, this was always going to happen. So I've got a friend she's a psychic. She goes all over the world, big in Japan. She's done TV shows, radio shows. And I don't let her read me because she knows me. So I'm like, well, you can't give me a reading. You know everything about me. But I rang her and told her, she went, "What a clever boy." She said, "Yeah, you were always, this was always going to happen. You've done nothing wrong." But she said he was trapped and couldn't move forward because he didn't get the love from his previous experience. So you've given him so much love, you've set him free. Now, on this blue tree were 3 birds that were flying away, and the leaves actually looked like they were flying away, the blue leaves. And she said and at the time he was my 3rd child. We've had 1 since. So she said that, you've set him free. So you did what he needed you to do, type of thing. Anyway, move on. A full year later, on his birthday, my wife and I are sitting in bed about 11 o'clock at night. My wife doesn't do social media, but she's on Facebook for some reason in the mummies group for the classroom. And one of the mums in there is very spiritual and hippie. And there's a thing, I don't know if you've ever heard this. You ever heard of magic rocks? It's a thing that a lot of towns do. The kids paint stones, put them in the forest, and then you go and find them, and you take a picture, put it on our social media, and then they hide it. It's just a thing that people did. It was a bit of a fad that everyone was doing at one point back then. She said, "Oh, I've just painted my rocks to take over the forest this weekend." And one of the rocks was a blue tree. Now, my wife doesn't go on Facebook. On his birthday, and it was like she'd painted the one in the ward. It was identical, like the shape of the leaves. It was weird. So I need this. I need the rock, the stone. It's like a stone like this. I need it. So I'm going over I'm over the forest, a couple of hours. I'm looking everywhere. Can I find it? No. And then I thought to myself, hang on, I don't even know what forest it's in. I've assumed it's the one in Bishop Stortford that's near where I live, but there's probably other forests I don't even know about. So I said to Vicky, my wife, I said, can you ask her where she put it? What forest she put it in? She went, oh, I'm not very good I don't know a number, and I'm not very good at, so I went, do it. This is my connection to my boy. You gave birth, and this is my little thing, please. Anyway, eventually she messages her, and the woman went, and she told her the story a little bit, and the woman said, you're not going to believe this, and I still don't know why, but I only took all the other stones over there, and the one that I didn't take over there is the one with the blue tree. And the next morning it was on my daughter's desk, wrapped in a little bow and in a little bag for me, and it's been by my bed ever since.
Oh my God, Scott! I'm all. If you could see my arm, my body, my now. Oh my goodness, got goosebumps everywhere. My God, what a beautiful story!
And I'm blessed to have that message. I'm blessed to be able to have that spiritual connection that you were saying, spiritual. But it did teach me something. Maybe these things in life that we always think are about us are not. Maybe it's about them. Because that was not about me and Victoria. That was about helping him. So it wasn't our loss, it was his gain.
And it's very interesting saying that as well, Scott, because sometimes we think that for us to be connected with someone, we need to be in the presence of life. It's not like that. So you can be connected with so many things, so many people, so many spirits, so many energy, you know what I mean? It's just when the connection is there, you don't need to be, you know what I mean, like physical together. As you say, I can see how much, you know what I mean, you are connected. And sometimes it's a connection, it comes from other lives as well. And for sure, this is gonna carry on somehow. Maybe you don't see I'm sure at the time you ask a lot of questions, why that happened, why this and that. But sometimes I'm sure now you're more aware of it. And I'm sure as well now you understand the message, you know what I mean? And the connection.
I wouldn't change it. Obviously, I'd change it for him to be here. But would I changed it for not to happen at all? No.
Absolutely.
I consider myself like really lucky to have had that story of the boy with the blue tree.
Oh, I'm so glad that you are talking about, because for sure people watch the interview. I'm sure they must have like a lot of stories as well connect with this one that you are sharing now. And it's such a personal, you know what I mean, story. Thanks for sharing, Scott. I think it's the first time I've got through it.
It's the first time I've got through it without crying.
Oh my God. Beautiful. Just one question. When you said that you went to have this scan, that you went to find out about the situation, how far your wife was at the time?
She was just over halfway.
Halfway, I see.
A little bit further than halfway. A little bit further, yeah. So we did have a funeral, and I had to carry the coffin and all that. So it was pretty intense at the time, yeah.
I see. Thanks again for sharing. Thanks so much for being open and sharing this very personal. My God, it's a very personal story. Thanks so much for being open. Thank you. Ready for another question?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Next one. Okay, Scott, next question for you is, which one movie you could watch over and over again?
I love. Well, there's more than one. There's more than one. But if I've got to give you one, I'm going to say the first Taken. Yeah.
Was the best one. All of them they tried to do again another, but the first one was just like insane.
As a father, as a man, I want to be him. Obviously, and I just want to point out, just in case people are listening. Obviously, I want to say Rocky, but I don't want to give you the same answer everyone's going to give everyone. So the first Taken, I thought was wow, and obviously it wasn't in the cinema and stuff, so we wasn't ready for it. It's brilliant.
Amazing. I totally agree. It's one of my favorite movies. I think it's so intense from the beginning to the end. You know what I mean? You get your attention.
Have you seen? There's a film that most people haven't seen, and it is more intense than that. And it's called No Escape. Oh, No Escape. Oh God, it's with Owen Wilson.
Right.
I think it's called No Escape. It's so exciting. Even I was up out of my seat from the first second to the last second. I think it's called No Escape, and it's Owen Wilson, and he's usually in comedy. You know Owen Wilson?
No Escape. I love movies. I'm sure I know. I cannot see the picture right now, but I'm sure I know. No Escape, the name of the movie. I might have watched it as well because
most people don't know it. Most people haven't seen it.
Oh, really?
So make sure you write it down and watch it. Yes, it's the one with Owen Wilson in it. Yeah, it's great.
Very good. Right, I have 3 questions left for you, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. But before the next one, as you're saying in the beginning of the interview about your children's book, what was the most challenging part for you to put things together at the time, to get the whole project together?
Okay, so writing it was quite easy. I had it in me, it just came out. I've written a second book since then as well, called Oh Yes, I Can. But Grumpy Gorilla has just been published traditionally, actually, in all the bookstores and stuff like that. So you have to wait for the next one. So I have found a great illustrator. So that wasn't too difficult either, because we really connected. So literally, we didn't have to keep going backwards and forwards. He drew my story, and I went, I love it. So I had no problem there. I think the hardest bit really was making sure, one, that I had it grammatically correct, because it's like you read it and you think it's fine, and I sent it to someone, they said, well, that's not right. But also getting into a publisher, that's the toughest thing, because they want you to go through a literary agent, and then the literary agent said, they know everyone else has got the next greatest book. Everyone's going to tell them that I've got the best book ever. So they're not listening to you, if you see what I mean. And there's so many books that it's really hard to get into. And then in the children's genre, it's also really saturated at the moment. Every celebrity in the world is bringing out a children's book. So do you know what I did? I thought, I'm going to chance my arm, and I'm going to forget about a literary agent. I'm going straight to the publisher myself. And usually they won't listen to you, and you have to go through an agent. But somehow, whoever I picked up the phone to that day was ready to listen. And I pitched myself, and they said, okay, send it over, and we'll have a look. I also sent them, I've got a recipe book called Eat Your Way to a Six-Pack, which is already actually a bestseller as a self-published. So that had sold thousands and thousands. Grumpy Gorilla hadn't sold 100. But they read it, and they loved it, and they offered me 3 free books. So the next one, and the next one as well. So sometimes you just got to go and ask. And if you don't ask, you don't get. And your mum must have taught you that from a child. It's just so true.
Very good. Next question is, what is the silliest thing have you ever posted online on social media?
The silliest thing I've ever posted online? Oh, crikey. I'm usually quite well behaved online. I've got a reputation to keep, you see, but I am quite silly and fun. What's the silliest thing I've done? usually when I do something, I'm probably showing off of some skill. So I did a silly skill where I was doing a headstand, and I was putting up piles of toilet roll whilst I was on a headstand with my feet. But yeah, in fact, yesterday I put on TikTok me dancing in this kitchen here, and it was a silly dance, which was said what I'm hearing in my earphones. So I'm dancing to what my kids see, and then I turned around and started doing a stupid dad dance. So I was doing all like gangster, and then I turned into dad, and I think it sounded like I was passing wind as well at the same time. So that was on TikTok yesterday, so you could even go and see that one.
I'll check it out for sure. 2 questions left for you, Scott. Let's do it. But before the next question, of course, being a personal trainer, having a lot of people, training people. I'm sure, I always say personal trainers or in the fitness, I think personal trainers, they're not just personal trainers, they are like a psychologist as well, because they listen a lot from their clients, for their, people who are trained with them. And also they share a lot of their lives as well with you. Positivity, negativity, a lot, of course. And being a personal trainer, and as I can see how spiritual you are, I'm sure sometimes, people, we share some kind of, let's say, challenge, let's say not negative, but challenge situation that sometimes, of course, for you must be easy to listen to them, to give an advice, but for sure as well, you can take that for your personal life, you can take that for your private life. How would you do? There's a mechanism for you to go like, okay, I'm there for them, in this challenge time, listen to them, but do you find a way to kind of not take this energy to your private life?
So you're right. I'm probably more of a counselor than anything else. And just so you know, I don't really train people one-on-one. I am a PT, but this is going to sound, I hope this doesn't sound, what's the word I'm looking for? Conceited. But the only people I really train one-on-one is a celebrity. And let me tell you why. It's not because they're better than everyone else or anything like that. But I want to reach every corner of the world that I can and save people's lives physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's my passion. It's what I live for. And I work 364.5 days a year. I get Christmas afternoon off. People finally leave me alone Christmas afternoon. But I love it. But I can reach thousands of people. If I've got this hour with one-on-one with someone, I can only reach that one person. Whereas I can reach several thousand in that hour by what I do with the Six-Pack Revolution. Now you say, well, why are you doing it for the celebrity? Well, the celebrity will, if I get them to where they need to be, physically, mentally, and emotionally, they will then post about it. I've been in, I just finished Rylan Clark. Do you know who Rylan Clark is? He was X Factor's presenter, big teeth, tall.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Rylan.
He's ITV, isn't he? He presents a program on ITV, I think.
Yes. He lots of programs.
I know he is. Yes, I know.
Right, so we've become best friends. But we was in every magazine, every newspaper, Loose Women. So now, thousands and thousands of other people now know of the Six-Pack Revolution. So now I can help all of those if they're interested in it and need it. So yeah, you're right. But I don't, because I think I've managed to train my mind. So if I'm speaking to someone who's got something horrific that's happened in their life, and I've had really bad stuff. I've had people that have had the worst things that have happened to them as children. You can imagine, or you name it, has happened. I don't really take it on into me as a negative thing. Mm-hmm. I love, this is the best part of my job. I get them to stop, I try and get them to stop focusing, even the worst things ever, on and giving energy to what they wished did not exist. And if you think about it, anything that's happened to you in your past is just a memory. And I'll prove it to you. Have you had anything bad happen in your past, William?
Absolutely.
No one gets away with it, right? Not even the Queen.
Absolutely.
So if I wiped your memory clear to now, would you be thinking, worrying, whatever happened in the past, dictating your life now, if I wiped your memory clear?
Absolutely not.
Impossible. So it's only a memory. So the misery that you keep beating yourself up with, whatever it is a memory just kept alive by you. Now, that's easier said than done. I understand that. But if you are going to bring memories with you, try and bring the ones with you that inspire you, move you forward, radiate positivity to help others. Use, like my experience with Evan and the Blue Tree. I use that as an empathy for other participants that have lost children. I know this is a weird thing to say, but my level will be lower than someone who's lost a child of 2 years old or 10 years old. But I've got them all on my program. But I can have some level of empathy. So I'm blessed to have had that obstacle in my life. I don't call anything problems or nightmares anymore. Just change them to the word obstacle. And they become a lot easier, because obstacles you just got to get over. And while we're talking about that, the past, so many people worry about the future. The future doesn't exist. It's just imagination. So the past is a memory, it doesn't exist other than that. And the future is just imagination, right? You can only imagine what the future might be. You might not be here tomorrow, and you can say, well, Scott, of course I'm going to be here tomorrow. You say that to everyone that's going to die tonight and didn't know it, right? Absolutely. So the future is just imagination. So surely, if you're going to imagine your future, you're going to imagine the best one possible for yourself, no? And if not, why not? Are you mad? Stop it. Could you imagine a world where we assumed the best case scenario and that the world was rigged in our favor every minute of every day? How would your last 40 years have been had you lived it like that? Instead of looking at the worst case scenario, worrying, what if that happens?
Absolutely.
You know, change your mindset and then you change your life.
Amazing. Oh my God, I could be listening to you for another hour. Please carry on. It's amazing. No, I totally agree. I think it's so powerful here. You know what I mean? If you follow that, if you have the right mindset to follow, you can go anywhere.
And also you've still got to look at all the other things, like this machine we live in is the only place we've got to live, right? So you've got to look, don't get me wrong, I love a beer. Sun comes out, my head goes beer. But we've also got to try and think to ourselves, there's got to be some balance somewhere. You can't poison it all day, every day and expect it to do what you want it to do all the time. And if you do nourish your body, by default, you nutrify your mind. And together, you'll realize really quickly that they make the most powerful partnership where anything is possible.
Absolutely. In my Instagram page, there is a phrase there: anything is possible. Anything is possible. It is.
The word impossible is I'm possible.
Good one. Next, ready for the last one?
Yep.
Let's do it, Scott. Last question. So before the last question, with the COVID situation, the COVID crisis for the last 2 years, in your opinion, what's the biggest positive impact gave to the fitness industry? Yeah. And what?
The positive is that maybe selfishly for me is that everything went online, and I already had a very well-known online fitness health mindset program. So it allowed me to reach again further and attempt to save the world.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Yeah. I was one of the lucky ones.
It's also fascinating. I remember when the first lockdown started, and people, online, social media, working out, sharing, sharing with other people on Zoom as well, the workout they were doing. It felt so nice to see people sharing their way of survival, way of working out in a remote way that they didn't have the habit of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a new thing, and people. I did a bit of a motivational video when the COVID to speak to people that were struggling and stuck at home and their mental health wasn't good. And I just said to them, look, we may be in a state of lockdown, but don't worry, before long, as long as you keep your head, exercise, eat well, don't use this as a reason to get drunk every day. And as long as you look up, everything will be fine. Even though we're in lockdown, as long as you look up. So that was my message over that time.
Ready for the last one, Scott?
Yep.
Last question for you is, what is the soundtrack of your life and why?
The soundtrack of my life? Oh, gosh. Well, the one that me and my family dance to in the kitchen most is Destiny by Lionel Richie. It's our happy song. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Easy. Scott, it's not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words. Just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Okay, I'll try.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like. Don't forget to share this video. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Family.
Children.
Money.
Car.
Which one is your favorite?
Porsche. No, Porsche, my 911. Targa. Love it.
Wow. One word for love.
Say that again?
Love. One word.
Love. Life.
And one word for life.
Love.
Easy. How about sex?
Rock and roll.
Yeah. Politics.
Oh.
Religion.
Spirituality.
Fear.
Power.
Friendship.
Cuddle.
Desire.
Happiness.
Regret.
None.
One word for success.
Laughter.
One word for wish.
What's the first words coming in my head? I can't think of anything. I'm seeing clouds.
Okay.
Why is that coming in my head?
Happiness.
Memories.
One word for bishops, your city, your town.
Home.
One word for England.
Strong.
One word for personal trainer.
Guru.
Good one. One word for grumpy gorilla and happy hippo.
What do we call what? Life.
And the last one of the six-pack revolution. One word.
Oh, well, one word's difficult. I can give you one big sentence, but one word. Winning.
Amazing. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely wife for a coffee, and I'm
You're
going
welcome.
and I'm going to ask her, tell me the most beautiful thing about Scott. In the same time as well, tell me something that he still needs to improve on, to work on. What she would say?
So she would say, the most beautiful thing about me is that I give myself to everyone in the pure intention to pull them up and help them live a life of happiness and abundance. The one thing she would say I need to work on is my relationship with her mum.
It's so honest. I'm not going to go into details, okay? I'll just leave there. Oh. Right, so let's play now Scott and the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, Scott, so now you can ask me a question.
I can ask you any question I like?
You can.
Okay. What gave you the idea for this wonderful show called The Magic Box?
Beautiful question. Beautiful. My God. When you said that, I'm like, God, it's going to come up.
Does everyone ask you that?
Not everyone, but a kind of similar question regarding the show. Yeah. Right. So I'll tell you. Yeah. So I think, Scott, as you when you're saying about your passion about fitness, about getting people with a mindset in a positive direction, in a positive way, I must say something to you. Through my life, I always wanted to do some. I always want to do something that. It was me, that I could wake up every single day. I could go to bed every single day. When I talk to people through my life, people are like, oh my God, I love what I do for life. I love going to work. Actually, I admired those people at the time, because I was like, my God, that must be feeling so good. You're going to bed, and waking up, thinking, doing something that you like, that you love. And of course, I think the human being, I think all of us, we can do different things in our lives. There are different paths. We can, we can achieve different things. We can do different jobs, and we still can enjoy it. We still can, take the most of it. But I was always asking this question to myself, my God, what I came to this world for, The first lockdown hit, the first lockdown in 2020, March, I literally went for a run in the park. I love running. And suddenly this idea came along. And I remember exactly the place, exactly the moment where I was, saying that I wasn't in a good place at the time. I think when the COVID hit, everyone was a bit lost. We didn't know what was happening. A lot of anxiety happening. People, they were trying, even myself, I didn't know, nobody was ready for that. So I found myself in a very dark place at the time. But saying that, I still carry on with my running, I carry on with doing my exercise, and this idea came along. Answer to your question, Scott, I think that idea is something that since a young age, I always done that. I remember going on holidays with friends. I always go like, oh, tell me something about your childhood. Who was your favorite teacher? Growing up, and even now, when I go, before I start the project, when I go on holidays with friends or barbecues or meeting friends, they know me. They go like, okay, Willy's gonna start now his joke. So I always had that, But saying that, I never had an answer for the question, what you came to this world for? But since then, since March 2020, now I found this way. I found the path. I think this interaction that I'm doing now with the world, it's something that I could not see myself doing anything else. I don't know where this project it will go, because I think I work every single day. I wake up every single day. I go to bed every single day thinking about that, and have no idea. Connect with people like I'm talking to you now. I have no idea. For me, I feel like talking to a friend. I forget that I'm recording. I find myself, I could do this all the time, 24 hours, no stop. Anyway, going to your question, I think the whole idea and the whole meaning of it's about my desire in life, something that I always want to do, but I never found an answer for. And I'm so grateful for this challenging time that we went through 2 years ago. Of course, it brought a lot of tears, a lot of sadness around the world, but at the same time as well, a lot of people found a lot of ways of living, a lot of ways of, facing life in a different way. And for me, I'm grateful for this challenging time, because this beautiful project came along in a very genuine way. So yeah, that's the whole. I went around, but just for you to have an idea, that's the Magic Box. That's what's what I mean?
Can I tell you something? You have this most beautiful energy. I feel like I'll be really upset if my path doesn't cross yours again. Oh. I think you're got such an amazing. I mean, you're beautiful to look at, and you can just feel it coming through the screen off you. I'm gonna miss you when this is finished. That's how powerful you are.
Oh my God, Scott! Thanks so much for this word. My goodness, you're gonna make me emotional now. You are definitely made to do this. Okay. Did you have good time to enjoy, Scott?
Yeah, I loved it. It's a real cool thing to do, and I knew I would.
Thank you so much.
Just by seeing you, like before when you asked me. I knew I would. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Thank you so much. But before you go, would you like to share a positive message or a positive quote, something that inspires in life?
Use life's obstacles as a reason to fight and not an excuse to fall.
Simple as that. Scott, thanks so much. Regards for your kids, for your wife, and you keep in touch. Thanks for the interview. It was a pleasure having you on the show. Okay.
Lovely to meet you, and I wish you all the best for the future.
You too.
And hopefully we will speak again one day.
For sure. And one day we come in land. One day we never know. Our paths are crossed now. You know what I mean. We are connected. So there we go.
100%.
Take care.
All the best. Bye.
Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.